It's really hard to find a good lawyer, and when you do, it's really expensive. Because if I could control both the hour and the rate, then I have a conflict because I can determine how much money I want to make. Business owners and just individuals are hesitant to call law firms because they see money flying out of their pockets. And so what we created was the Access Plan, and we've helped hundreds of small business owners across the country with their legal issues from startup to...
The following is brought to you by Thryv, the end-to-end client experience platform that helps you get the job, manage the job, and get credit.
Hey everybody, this is Gordon Henry at Winning on Main Street, the podcast that brings you actionable insights for small business owners and entrepreneurs. And this week you get to meet Scott Reib, who runs Reiblaw. But Scott's not just any lawyer. He's really one of you. He's an entrepreneur who's creating a disruptive business model and grabbing market share. Scott's been called America's legal coach. His claim to fame is that he has revolutionized the legal industry by eliminating outrageous hourly fees for small business owners, something I know most small business owners would be interested in hearing. He's located in Denton, Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, but he does service clients across the country, and we'll be talking about that in just a minute. Welcome, Scott.
Hey, Gordon, thanks for having me.
Hey, it's great to have you. So I'd like to just jump in on this question of, what's wrong with standard law firms and what do you do differently? Can you talk to that?
Sure. Yeah, the big thing is there's a big paradigm problem. Business owners think of law firms as emergency rooms. And so they only call law firms when, and this is small business, when their house is on fire, when everything's horrible, then they call a lawyer and want to get it fixed. And then they find out it's really hard to find a good lawyer. And when you do, it's really expensive to solve that problem. Instead, they need to be thinking of lawyers as primary care. Well, here's where the problem comes. Law firms for the last 50 plus years have been charging by the hour. And it's a big by the hour. My hourly rate, if you wanted to pay it, is $500 an hour. And there's some crazy people that do that, but I don't know why you would want to. Because if I could control both the hour and the rate, then I have a conflict because I can determine how much money I want to make. Now, I'm ethical. A lot of lawyers are ethical, and they don't intentionally do that. But subconsciously, in the back of their mind, they know that if they spend a little more time on your project, your issue, they're going to make more money, even if it's not beneficial to you, right? Because at some point they put in enough time on it, it's good enough, let's end it. But if they keep going a little further, it might not hurt you, other than it's going to cost you more money. And so business owners and just individuals are hesitant to call law firms because they see money flying out of their pockets. And so after I've had my firm now 16 years, in 2012, I had enough of the problem where my clients weren't calling me back after I had a major victory for them. They weren't calling me back and saying, hey, help me with my contracts, help me make sure I stay out of trouble this time. Instead, they'd wait a few years to call me again when their house was on fire. And so I did a crazy thing. I went and hired a business coach because I had this vision for people to be able to call me with their problems on demand with the subscription, and I was able to answer their questions, solve their problems, and it not cost them out of pocket like it does if I go to my primary care doctor. I just pay $25. They tell me what's wrong with me, and I'm on my way. And so what we created was the Access Plan back in 2012, and we've helped hundreds of small business owners across the country with their legal issues from startup to 20-year-old plus companies, from $200,000 of income to $10 million.
Okay, so what is the Access Plan?
Well, the Access Plan is a subscription model where a business owner gets on-demand access to me and my legal team for any kind of legal questions. I mean, it's unlimited text, unlimited emails, unlimited phone calls. You could call me 10, 20 times a day. No one's ever worn that out, but you could. And then you get to schedule a work meeting. So if you want to have an hour with the team to work on a project, you get a check-in call every month where we're spending 30 minutes with you, just focused on your business, right? So imagine that 12 times a year, you're going to spend 30 minutes with your legal team focused on your business. How does that differentiate you between yourself and your competitor? They're not doing that. It gives you a huge edge. And then we do contract reviews. We create custom contracts. Our clients don't have to ever sign a contract again that hasn't been reviewed by our team. And that's the
Okay.
access plan.
So I'm buying access to you and your team through this monthly plan. And how much is the monthly plan?
Right now, it starts as low as $9.97 a month, $9.75 a month. Sorry,
$975 a month.
$9.75 a month.
So I pay you $970. It gives me, you said, basically unlimited access, text, email. Now, what happens if I'm buying another company, and that's a big thing. What happens then? Then is there a monthly or an hourly fee?
No, it's not. We don't do it hourly. If there's a big project that would be more than an 8-page contract, which buying a business would be, then we give you a flat fee quote for, we have it a la carte list of pricing. You get, here's what non-access members would pay, and then you get 20% off of that.
Okay. So for most of the day-to-day legal work that most small to medium-sized businesses need, the access plan covers that. And then when there's something bigger, you give them a quote on a special project that's a flat fee.
Yeah, the only thing we do by the hour is litigation. I just can't figure out another way to do it. But I just decided that if other businesses had to price their product or service and live with it, so should I. And so we come up with a quote for the project. If I'm too low, then we'll lose money, and we're inefficient. If I'm efficient and price it right, we make money. And so, like you said, I'm an entrepreneur like everybody else. And so I should have to be like everybody else. So we give you flat fee pricing and some monthly fees that you can budget. And so you shouldn't have any big surprises with us.
So has this caught on? Are many clients taking you up on this and moving to this monthly subscription? Is it growing?
Yeah, it's growing, and we're starting to scale it. It's been through lots of twists and turns over the last 8 years, but we're approaching our 80th client. Should get them this month. In the plan, would like to have hundreds, and we have the infrastructure now with technology and people to where we could handle that capacity. A couple of years ago, we could not have. It's interesting trying to solve all the problems of other, people are sending us requests for document reviews, legal questions, and then we have to deal with those as trouble tickets in a timely way. How do we track those? Right. So I have the same kind of business problems that other people do. And so we've had learning now how to scale this.
Okay. So 80 clients have taken you up on this offer of the $975 a month. And have you looked at the usage of your time and your team's time that each one of those represents, and whether it's worked out for you as you planned? Like people, is it sort of an all you can eat buffet and suddenly everybody's eating 10 hamburgers, or how's that working out?
Yeah, I don't track it like I should right now. As I told my preacher once, you're starting to meddle. We probably should track it more closely, but we've never had anyone abuse the system. No one's asking for too much stuff. And when the team if the team says, hey, they're starting to ask for these things that aren't in their plan, then I just jump on a call with them and say, hey, this is what you're asking us to do. We can definitely do it. Here's a choice. We can either make that a la carte, or you need to bump up to the next plan. Totally your call. And most people will just jump up. And we've had a lot of clients come to us and go, hey, we realize we're starting to ask you to do more and more for us. And so we need to jump up a plan. And it's just hasn't been a problem. I can imagine there's going to be a point where I'll have to have a person who that's their job, is just making sure that we're being profitable with our time. But at the price point we are now, we can make a profit. I can still have a life. It doesn't have to be just me anymore, and we get to have a whole lot of fun.
Got it. How much legal work in terms of hours a month do you think most small businesses actually use or need? Like how much need for legal service does the average small business have?
For actual document creation, probably maybe 3 to 5 a month.
Hours?
Where we're really helpful is more on the fly. Hey, this just came across my desk. What do you think about this? Or during that 30-minute call where you're just kind of telling me what's been happening in your world and what projects you're working on, and I go, you're doing what? I didn't know you were doing that. You can't do that. Or you can do that, but we have to have this in the contract. That happens all the time. And because we have the ongoing relationship, we're able to find legal work that wouldn't have gotten done normally. So when you ask, it's kind of built into that question is there's more legal work that should be done that's not happening. But if they were, if you look at Fortune 500 companies, it's constant. And that's because there's just so much out there. But most small business owners, it doesn't ever get on their windshield, or it just can't. They've got too much going on. And so with this program, we force it a little by having that monthly call.
Right. And I do want to mention that you do business nationally, but you're based in Texas, and you said you're licensed in Texas and Oklahoma, I believe. So tell me, how do you handle the cases or the customers, clients in other states?
Yeah, so we're doing what I call the low-hanging fruit. We're doing the easy stuff, the setting up the LLCs, the corporations, the legal structures, the way we're going to operate the business with employees, all that stuff. And it's pretty much the same with some tweaks in all the states. And so what we do is we work here from our home base. We don't travel to your state. We do stuff over the phone or like Zoom. And then if you wanted to, you could come to us. But we do work with some clients all across the country. But we have plenty of clients and businesses that need help just in Oklahoma and Texas. So we could stay busy there. But my goal is to help as many businesses as possible become what I call shatterproof. And to do that, I need to make this available to everybody.
Right. I'm wondering, how do most small businesses get into trouble legally? And does a service like yours help them avoid problems because they're dealing with it up front? Like you said, if I never go to the doctor until I have a real problem, well, when I do see the doctor, I have a real problem. But if I went to the doctor on a regular basis with checkups, I probably would stay out of trouble. So are you the doctor who's helping me stay out of trouble?
Yeah, we're the primary care doctor that's seeing you on a regular basis and keeping you on the right supplements and checking your blood work every 6 months to make sure that you're keeping it where you want it, right? So you're a finely tuned machine. So we're helping you avoid what I would call the big potholes, right? You're going to hit some potholes if you're taking a trip. It's just, let's avoid the big ones so we don't knock our rim off or ruin our alignment. And if we can just be really careful and make sure that we're using sound business practices, sound legal practices, then when these legal things happen, because there's 20 million lawsuits filed every year in the US. So it's not if, it's when there's going to be a legal problem. It's minimal. Our team can jump on it because pre-litigation comes with your package. So if you get a demand letter in the mail, you don't have to freak out. You just let the team know and we jump on it. And our job is to make it go away. We don't want to litigate. We want to make it, resolve it, because litigation and courtrooms are only good for lawyers. And so it's by being in a program like ours, and I hope there's others across the country that I don't know about. You can minimize the problems, smooth out your entrepreneurial journey, and the main goal is to build businesses with profits that last. So when you take that stuff home out of your business, that's called profit, then we want to protect it. So we don't want our business's actions to be able to go take that at home. And so then we have to do asset protection planning as well.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, I want to mention to anybody who's listening who's interested in taking advantage of what Scott has to offer, this monthly asset protection plan, that Scott is eager to speak with you and has set up a special page for Winning on Main Street listeners that I want to give that to you right now. It's reiblaw.com/Main Street. Again, it's Reiblaw, that's REIBLAW.com/Main Street. We'll put it in the show notes as well. Which we really appreciate. And that's a great way for people to find out more about you and also take advantage of this asset protection plan, which I think is a great idea. This scourge of America called the billable hour, I've been hearing about this for years. This isn't the first time I've ever heard about this. And yet it seems to just be hanging around like a bad cold or something. Is it just lawyers love it because they can, as you say, kind of pad the bill? And so it's just hard to get rid of? They're in control?
Yeah, the lawyers are the lawyers right now are in control, and in some ways, corporate America. If general counsel offices in the Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies would say we're not doing that anymore, it would stop. But they don't, and it's super profitable. I could make more money charging by the hour. I know I could, at least in the short run. The problem is you can't keep the clients because at some point they're going to try to shop you and see if someone else will do it for less, or they're going to get mad at you because your bills, they think you're overcharging them. But I mean, I can remember I was about a 3-year lawyer, a new partner in a firm, and one of the senior partners saying, I went to them with, hey, trying to have a client that I'm trying to pitch. What rate do you want me to pitch them? He's like, I don't care what rate you pitch them. As long as I can control the hours, it doesn't matter what the rate is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. I hadn't thought of that because I was still wet behind the ears. But that's how too many lawyers look at it. Is it's just the client is a cash cow, and it's just how thinly can we slice it up?
Yeah, yeah.
And they've got layers of lawyers billing by the hour.
Right.
And then in big firms, you've even got where people are scared to say how long it really took them to do something.
Right.
So they don't know, because the young lawyer may take longer than the older lawyer. So no one really even knows what it actually took because no one's being honest in their billing.
Right. And of course, I guess most of the big law firms maybe the New York law firms or the big city law firms, they tend to have a few partners at the top who generate a lot of business, but most of the work is being done at the lower levels, and they're making a lot of money because they're charging out those lower level lawyers at a big rate, even though they're probably not paying them, certainly not paying them at partner rates. So they're making a big margin on those lower level lawyers, right?
Yeah, but all you hear about in the world is how medical pricing is out of control. You never hear about this legal pricing problem. Never, rarely.
Right.
But it's a big deal. I think at some point it will come crumbling down. I've got this article that I keep working on called "The Billable Hour is Dead and They Just Don't Know It."
One of your theories, we talked about it briefly before, is shatterproofing your business, sort of getting ahead of things and making sure your business is solid so that you don't get into trouble.
Right.
Can you talk about that, and particularly what are the key pillars of this shatterproofing idea?
Sure. Yeah, shatterproofing a business came from the idea of the shatterproof glass that we have in our windshields. I view our business is a vehicle, and we have this dashboard. And as business owners, we're always checking our dashboard. And you want that thing to be shatterproof, so when the rocks of life hit it, they mark it, and then we can come back later and fix it. We don't want it to come through and hit us in the face. But like, for instance, if you're a solopreneur and you're running as a sole proprietor, no corporation, no LLC, that rock's going to come hit you in the face. You have no dashboard. You have to have the vehicle first to get a dashboard. And so it's one of the things that you have to do is kind of get that vehicle in place. And so we created what we call the 5 strategies to shatterproof your business. And the first one is you need to assemble a team of key advisors, right? And this, I obviously as an attorney would be part of that team. And the reason you need an attorney is some of the stuff we've already talked about. But you need to have someone that can help you figure out the right business entity, figure out how to set up your contracts, how to make sure your vendor agreements are fair, how to make sure you have good employee policies, that you've got employment agreements, you have independent contractor agreements, you know the difference between an independent contractor and an employee, all those kind of things and much more, right? So you need that lawyer. And then you need a CPA. Why do you need a CPA? Well, you need someone to help you count the money. The CPA, we're in a game called business, and the way you keep score is money. And CPAs are skilled at that. Unless you're a CPA or just gifted, you're probably not skilled at that. And so you need someone that knows the IRS rules, knows accounting, can help you set up your chart of accounts right in QuickBooks or Xero or whatever you want to use. But you want to have that chart of accounts right. And then they can teach you how to keep your books right, how to determine whether you're making a profit. You asked earlier kind of some questions about, am I keeping track of some of those things? You need to have key metrics in your business that can help you set those up. And then you can know at the end of the day, this huge question, did you make more money than it cost to produce your product or service? A lot of business owners miss that. That's the number one formula for business success, is charge more than it costs to make your product or service. And a lot of people don't figure that out. And an accountant can help you figure out whether you're actually making money. Otherwise, you can just be turning money over. So get that accountant in place. And then the next thing you want to have an insurance broker. An insurance broker helps you with the things that the lawyer can't, right? We can only give you so much liability protection, and you continue to interact with humans and other businesses. I can protect you if I could isolate you and you would never touch anyone again. but you're going to. So we need insurance, and the people that know the right policies to have, the right things to have in the contracts, and the best prices is the insurance broker. And so you need one that will take interest in you. And when I say, I use the word key relationships because this is all about knowing them and them knowing you. It's not just checking a box and saying, okay, I've got, this out of the box insurance company and they're my insurance company, and they don't know you, they have no idea what you do, and there's no ongoing relationship. No, you need someone that you can have coffee with, and that they're asking you questions, and that they're keeping up to date with the new twists to your business, and they're giving you a list of insurances that you can't afford. And you're like, I can't do all this right now. And they're like, I understand, but my job is to tell you what's available to cover you, and then you pick, right? You need that person. You can use, it can be someone, with a name brand company that only has that name brand if it's a solid company. But if you get an independent person, then they can shop around for you. But you need someone there, and it's most important that you have a solid relationship with them, and that that they're good at their job. And then the next relationship, and this doesn't last by any means, is a banker. You really need a banker. And this isn't a bank. There's a bank on every corner, and a lot of them, the people working there haven't had a shave yet. And then by the time you go in the next time, they've moved on because they're rotating desks so fast. So you've got to take some time to find a banker, and you may end up following them around a little bit because as they move in their career, they may move to different banks. That relationship is key to helping you set up accounts with low fees. Someone that's monitoring your account to make sure that there's not something funny going on with your account, or maybe they're helping you set up the line of credit you need so that you can expand your business. The only way to get that done is with the relationship, because they're going to loan committees, they're having to do things. If it's someone that doesn't know you, they're not going to pitch hard for you. So take them donuts, go buy with coffee, build a relationship with someone that and that you can trade cell phone numbers with, and that you can text if you need help. So important. The other day, I had my business credit card from the bank didn't show up, but it was supposed to. It had expired. I hadn't noticed. It was a month ago. So I called my banker and said, hey, the credit card didn't show up. 0.4 hours later, she'd solved the problem. It's just simple things like that. But I didn't have to go to the bank to do it because I had her cell phone number.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so you got to have those relationships in place. And the not in the ebook that's available on the Reiblaw.com /
Main Street.
Main Street is the ebook, but not in that ebook is it will be in the new edition is you need a business coach. Every business owner should have a business coach.
Yep.
There was a really common oversight on my part because I couldn't be where I am with that one. You've got to have someone that can see from a bird's eye view, and then help you be accountable to the actions that you've committed to taking. Because you have great intentions, but if you're like me, there's just too much going on. But if I know that I'm going to show up on Friday and have to talk to my business coach and tell them I didn't do what I told them I would do, I'll do it. I'll find a way to get it done. So I don't want to be embarrassed, especially when I'm paying somebody.
Yeah.
And if you're, so that's the first, what you were saying, pillar. That's the first way to be Shatterproof.
Right. Awesome. And I want to remind people again, Reiblaw.com / Main Street. That's where you get the free ebook, and you can get access to Scott and find out more. So Scott, we only have a few minutes left. I'm really interested. You've become this business person as well as a lawyer, but you didn't always do it this way. You began somewhere like most of us did. Tell us a little bit about how you got into the legal profession and moved along in your career.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a business major with the Southwest Baptist University. Got a business marketing degree. I really would like to have done advertising. Really like that. Met the love of my life my senior year. We got married, and I had to get a job. Well, in 1991, marketing meant selling copiers and phones. So I ended up with selling phones for AT&T, and had a lot of fun, got to do their training, that excellent sales training, and then did very well in my first year. I was what they called an authorized agent. So I had my own business in 92. And then they decided to not honor the contract that we had signed, took away my territory, and that cost me a bunch of money. I went to see a lawyer who was kind enough, because they knew my parents, to visit with me for free. And they told me how things worked, and that I had a great case against a company that I couldn't fight. And I decided right then and there that I was going to do what everyone would do. I'm going to law school. I had been interested in law as in junior high and even some in high school. Had just kind of gotten tired of school. But I decided then that I wanted to be smarter than I was. I obviously didn't know what I needed to know. And so I went and took the LSAT, and the next fall I was sitting in at OU and as a 1L in law school. And so that's how I got into law, and then kind of started falling in love with litigation and trial work because it's so exciting. Problem is you don't ever get to go to trial. That's what they don't tell you. Unless you're doing criminal law, you don't get to go to trial.
Right.
And so you would just spend hours and hours on phone conferences with engineers, bored out of my mind, billing by the hour, and not helping people. And I just, I did that for a while. And then I started working with smaller business owners and really liked that because we were litigating some problems for them that were really important. And I was helping them. And then we would set up new companies, we'd sell businesses. I can remember in, I guess it was 97, 98, I sold my first company. I was having lunch with the guy and he said, "Hey, my parents need to sell their ambulance company. Would you be interested?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so I sold my first business, helped them sell it, and I did it on a percentage. And I was like, "Oh, that's fun." So I didn't have to keep track of my time. And I got paid for delivering value. The more money I made them, the more money I made. And so that made a big shift in how I started doing things.
Love it. That's great. In our last minute or two here, I'm just wondering, you're a busy guy, family, business you're running, employees. Do you have any spare time, and what do you like to do in your spare time?
I now have a lot of spare time. I am empty nest. So my wife and I, we were married 30 years in June. Our youngest boy, Luke, went to Oral Roberts University, and so he's gone. And our oldest got married after graduating ORU. So we're by ourselves trying to figure out what to do. I used to ride bikes, do lots of 100-mile rides.
Wow.
Used to play golf. So probably once we get out of this COVID stuff,
Yeah,
I'll probably pick both of those back up. And then my wife and I will probably pick up some hobbies too. But I did not have a lot of time before because I was coaching 2 or 3 soccer teams, trying to keep this thing going. But now I do have a lot of time.
Good. Well, congrats on reaching that next stage of life. It must be very gratifying to see your kids moving on into those various pursuits. That's great. Yeah, great. Well, this has been great, Scott. I really appreciate your time and your insights. And I want to, again, encourage folks, check out reiblaw.com/Main Street. That's REIBLAW, reiblaw.com/Main Street. You can get a free ebook. There's some other goodies there that Scott has lined up if you're interested. And most of all, you'll have access to Scott and hopefully interested in his asset protection plan, which I know will be a great benefit to any small business so they can get ahead of this legal issue that he's been talking about. So again, Scott, thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Gordon.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and tell a friend or colleague to subscribe. And if you don't mind, leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. And until next time, make it a great week.